Alrighty, here we go. So thank you very much, John, for the introduction. So yes, my name is Bradley Nowacek. I am a graduate of Yale University, but I have not been there for 2 years, so frankly, that's not important anymore. What I am is a professional actor. I am employed in New York City as a professional actor. I work on shows both here and around the country. I have worked on national tours. I have worked on regional productions. I have worked on shows right here in New York City. And as a professional actor, I specialize in villains. I specialize in the most heinous characters that are part of the American theater because we need heinous people to tell stories. I play televangelists, racists, sexual predators. These are the things that make up the heart of my career. And believe it or not, there is a skill that is involved in this that is important to the presentations and the material that we've seen today, and that is empathy. When you are trained as an actor, and in particular as a villain actor, you are trained to have empathy for the characters and the roles that you are playing. This is important for several different reasons, the most important of which being if you are performing on stage and you think that your character is a terrible person, if you think that the character that you are trying to play is evil, the audience can sense it and the performance feels fake. So, as a villain actor, the most important skill that you must have is to be able to empathize and understand the perspectives of some of the worst people on the planet. Now, why is this important for all of the topics we have seen tonight? Most of the topics we have seen tonight are scientific, and even the ones that seem to go a little bit more towards the politically polarized side of the spectrum, like John's presentation on the Supreme Court and potential reforms there, it doesn't really immediately seem clear where empathy needs to come in. No matter what field you are in, that can be acting, that can be science, that can be politics, whatever it is, you will have to interact with people who disagree with you and whose opinions drive you nuts. If you are a scientist, there will be someone who controls your funding and does not want your experiments to continue, and you have to pitch yourself to them. If you are a politician, you will have to talk to people across the aisle. If you are an actor, you will have to work with fellow actors who you do not like. Everyone on earth, no matter what field you're in, you are in need to be able to interact with people who you disagree with. This is where empathy comes in. If you empathize with the person you are talking to, even if you disagree with them, you will be more able to convince them to come around to your point of view. Most importantly, if you understand who they are and where they are coming from, you will be able to understand how to persuade them. If you understand what they care about, if you understand what they love, you will be able to persuade them more effectively. Also, if you empathize with the person you are talking to, they can sense it. As people, we are emotionally intelligent. We can tell when someone cares about us or at least respects us enough to care about what we feel. If someone can sense that you empathize with them, they will be more receptive to your ideas. So, how do we develop empathy? We saw the presentation from Sarah earlier tonight where we talked about the psychological and the chemical basis for empathy in our brains. But how do we control that? How do we develop it? There's an exercise I want to share with you that I use as an actor that I find very, very useful. So, first of all, I would like everyone to imagine the person who annoys them most in the world. This can be a friend of yours. This can be a teacher. This can be a politician who you disagree with. This could be an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. In my case, it is US Senator Ron Johnson. The man drives me nuts. We do not have to go into why. I disagree with almost everything that he has done, and just thinking about him ruins my day. So everyone take a moment. Pick who that is in your mind. Who is the person who just bringing them up in conversation puts you into a bad mood? And once you have that in mind, think about the thing that you love the most in the world. The thing that just bringing it up in conversation makes you happy. For me, this is the theater community that I was part of at college when I was at Yale. The group of people who I went through COVID with, who I spent 4 years doing shows with, going to classes with, hanging out at night, getting meals with. That group of people, that is the group of people I love the most in the world. I care about them. I would do absolutely anything for them. Just talking about them makes me smile. Think about those people or that thing that makes you smile just thinking about it. Think about how happy that makes you, how much you love that, how much you would do for that thing. And now take a moment to realize that the person who annoys you the most in the world has something that they love and value just as much as you value your favorite thing. All of that positive emotion, all of that care that you have, all of that tenderness, they have that as well. Who knows what it's for, but they have it. In Ron Johnson's case, maybe it's the community he grew up in. Maybe that's why he holds the political positions he does. He is fighting to protect the version of the community he grew up in. And that makes me empathize with him more, thinking about that. That doesn't mean it makes me agree with him. That doesn't mean it doesn't make me upset with him. But it makes me empathize with him more. And the more I can empathize with him, the better I can understand what he does, the better I can work against him to make my views about how the world should become true. And the better I am to spot the few places where he might be right and I might be wrong. If you can develop empathy, it will help you change the world in the ways that you want to do, whether you are a scientist, an actor, a politician, or a student. It does not mean it's fun. I don't have a good time sitting back and thinking about, developing the perspective of some of the worst people on earth as an actor. But it is my job, it is an effective skill, and it is one that I think everyone should practice. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you to Dr. Chen. Thank you to our hosts. That is the end of my speech.